G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because the Northerners has penciled in a 75-man strong squad. It's probably going to get culled down a lot, but hey, Andy Farrell's got a lot of people they want to take down to visit Australia. And yeah, we've got a lot of players who we could potentially have an opportunity for the Lions tour as well. So we've got the news that came out that the Australia-New Zealand 15, which will be consisting of obviously players from both side of the Tasman, will be coached by Mr. Ian Foster, Sir Fozzie. He's currently coaching in Japan after the missing out winning the Rugby World Cup by just a hairline. I mean, a lot of people are pretty harsh about Fozzie's performance as a head coach at the All Blacks. I thought he did everything that was required to pass as a All Blacks head coach. It is it is extremely difficult to maintain the standards that was left over in previous All Blacks teams, and he didn't lose any of the trophies at the Rugby Championship. He had a few losses here and there, but overall I thought he was very, very close in achieving the goal of regaining the Rugby World Cup again, and it was just a little bit unlucky for him. But hey, the news came out that he will be the head coach, and he's talked about a lot of players that could be up for selection, including Israel Folau. I know, he's somebody I thought should not be fired because of his religious beliefs. And I thought, he was probably misguided by some of what he believed was the right thing to do for his beliefs from his religion. But I think, hey, everything can be forgiven. And I think that if he wants to come back, it's been so many years, it'll be great for all of our fans to see him again. He's a born and bred Australian, great Australian sport legend. You have to understand, he was outstanding in every sport that he has been in, and it'll be you can say I'm getting emotional already just talking about him. It'll be great to see him back in Australian shores, playing in front of the fans again. And the one thing you have to remember, Israel Folau last played for Tonga in 2022, so he's actually eligible to play for Wallabies again. He's actually allowed to switch back to play for the Wallabies again. So there is a chance, if he's in form. He's only 35 years of age, so still definitely not completely out of the woods, completely, over the hill yet. And he's definitely possible for him to make a comeback for the Wallabies, and that'll be, I think that'll be a redemption for him to kind of like clear his name and get back in good terms with all the fans that have supported him over so many years in so many different sports as well. And this will be a great finish to his career if that was to happen. But yeah, there's some talks of him returning. Ian Foster as well. He's been talking about definitely potentially selecting Richie Mo'unga to play for the Aussie New Zealand 15, and Aaron Smith could be playing as well, and the captain himself, right? Michael Hooper. I knew it. I knew he's coming back. He could be playing as well. And then Mike Hooper has apparently been some pretty good form right now in Japan. So yeah, this is all gonna be a pretty nostalgic and pretty happy team if Fozzie was able to get all these players together for for all of us fans for a bit of entertainment play. So yeah, this will be an outstanding fixture to look out to, and especially Israel Folau. He has talked about really wanted to come back. He talked about just thinking about it. It's making him emotional. And it's been 12 years? It can't be 12 years, can it? 12 years? Not that long. No, it's not that long. But yeah, it's been a long time coming for him to come back home and put the things behind him, clear everything out, and finish off his career on a high note in front of his home fans. So yeah, this will be you can tell I'm very, very excited for this to happen. And then we've got some talks about the potential futures of the Wallabies head coach job as well. So initially it's believed that at the moment there's interviews going on, and it's believed that Les Kiss is the front runner for the Wallabies, but someone else has just entered the picture, and that is Stuart Lancaster. It's been reported by the Raw that there is a potential there's some talks about Lancaster being linked up with the Wallabies instead of Les Kiss, because of the Queensland Reds is currently having a good run with Les Kiss, and they just feel like if Les Kiss wants to move up to the Wallabies, he's gonna basically take all his assistant coaches up as well. So there's gonna be a huge like drain of I guess coaching talents out of the Queensland Reds team, and that's just not something I think Australian Reds rugby want, and Australian rugby probably also looking at how good the Reds have been performing right now. It's a little bit reluctant to kind of just like hollowed out their own team to bolster the national team. But I do think that if they want to consider Stuart Lancaster, they should consider him for the Reds job and have Les Kiss have a go for the Wallabies role. I think that Les Kiss has done so much to prove that he deserved the spot, and I think that Lancaster, I'm not, I remember him from the 2015 exit, embarrassing exit at home rugby Wildkard for England. But apparently he's a really good coach. He's being outstanding at Leinster. But for me, he's struggling currently, or he struggled recently at Rassie 92, and that just shows me that he's not really, his most recent performance hasn't really been at the level of Les Kiss. So I think that if Rugby Australia goes this route and give Lancaster the role, I don't think that's gonna be I'm not really happy about that. I think Les Kiss deserves to take the team to take up to the next level and take the Wallabies to the Rugby World Cup. And speaking of the Super Rugby, this weekend, some big changes to all the teams that's coming up. So we've got the first game coming up, Hurricanes versus Waratahs. The big return is the Waratahs, $5 million man, Joseph Swatli'i. He will be back in a more familiar position as well at number 13. Last time he played, which was round 1 for the Waratahs, he was at fullback, and it wasn't really cutting it. I thought it was not a bit of a waste of his talent there, to be honest. At least he needs more time to get used to what is required to be a 15. I think a 13 is a much better position for him. And looking forward for this game. Hurricanes has suffered an injury as well to number 10. What's his name? Harry Godfrey, 6 weeks leg injury, and he's been quite good for the Hurricanes. A lot of people were saying that he's basically the next Beauden Barrett. And this is going to be 6 weeks out from a leg injury, and that's going to be a bit of a bummer for a lot of the Hurricane fans. But this will be at home for them, and it's going to be with Cameron Roygaard on the field, it's not going to be an easy game for the Waratahs. But I think the Waratahs do have slight advantage over the Hurricanes based on the amount of raw talent they have on the field going into this game. The next one is Brumbies versus Highlanders at Canberra. The big change here for the Highlanders, I guess, everybody was talking about after the game last week, that Timothy Tavatava Nawai has been moved back into the inside center position after playing on the wing last week, where he wasn't just nearly as effective against, around the rocks and around the center field position. He was moving in a lot. So the coaching staff has made the right decision to move him back into the number 12 jersey. For the Brumbies, there's not too much to say. They lost a pretty disappointing game against the Waratahs. I thought they should have won. So they're going to be looking at bolstering themselves, getting back, building back towards some more winning momentum. Interestingly, Tom Hooper was not cited for a potential red card for doing a suplex, basically like a WWE wrestling move. So he will be available to play this weekend for the Brumbies, with Nola Lucio at 10 once again. The big one for on Saturday as well is Crusaders versus Moana Pacifica. This will be a pretty interesting game. The Crusaders has opted for the first time to start James O'Connor at number 10, baby. He's getting there. He's gonna be the future of All Blacks rugby at the fly half jersey. So he's getting a number 10. I think his goal kicking is probably just behind Damien McKenzie at the moment. And the Crusaders missed so many goal kicks last week. Could have potentially gone badly if the scoreline was tight. And I thought James O'Connor coming on. I think he missed one as well out of 2. But I thought James O'Connor's goal kicking is overall a little bit more reliable. For the Moana Pacifica, big return for themselves. Adi Savea was injured last week and he's back this week, and he will be crucial for last round. He'll be crucial for the success of the Moana Pacific team. And finally, last game of the weekend, Reds versus the Western Force, with Ryan Smith giving the captaincy for the Reds, with well, what's his name? Harry Wilson getting a bit of a break for this Reds team. So again, more players being shuffled around going into this match against the Force at home in Brisbane. The Western Force, yeah, I thought was, you know, really, really dominant against the Fijian Endurers last week. There was, I thought this the Force team again at home really looked good, and then this is going to be an away game, so how they're going to pull up, still to be seen. I think that this has been an issue from the last year, not able to win away, but I thought they've broken themselves out of that after beating the Brumbies at Canberra. But hey, this will be another challenge for them to try to continue some of that good work they've been building for this season. Now, there's some criticism on the Blues having a week off. Obviously, Rico Ioane has been in the crosshair from Justin Marshall a little bit. I do think that, I do think Rico hasn't really been informed for not just this season. He wasn't really informed last season. He didn't even score any tries last season. So I think that, the rush defense, the speed and the ability of him just create space for the players around him, just not quite there. I just don't think he's quite there. I think they might have to consider him back at wing at some point. Maybe move Caleb Clark at 13. I think that'll be something they should try, because I just don't think Rico at the moment is up to the All Black level at all. So I completely agree with Justin Marshall there. So New Zealand Rugby, once again, don't know how to make money. There was a proposal by Rugby Australia to go and play what do they call it? One of the Bledisloe games for ANZAC Day. And New Zealand Rugby CEO, this guy, basically said that they've looked into it and they decided it's not viable. Having a 5-game tour to South Africa and pulling basically the Rugby Championship is viable for him, but not an extra match for Bledisloe. When the ANZAC test for AFL and NRL has been just hugely successful here in Australia, and somehow they don't think it's something that they should pursue in New Zealand Rugby. And he cited some issues like risking Super Rugby, player welfare, and other commercial partnerships. I don't see any of that as an issue. Commercial partnerships will be a bonus because you're getting more eyes in the product, and you're literally giving the teams a Super Rugby a boost in the middle of the season with a lot of eyes back onto the sport to generate interest. And it's like the perfect opportunity, and somehow he thinks that New Zealand Rugby thinks that it's going to hurt commercial partnerships and, again, player welfare. Just have a week off. It's not that big of a deal. Just have a week off. It's not gonna end the season just having a week off. You're giving anyway, it's just I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know who's giving advices at New Zealand Rugby, but it's just really, really, really stupid stuff altogether. There was a lot of you guys were talking about I should watch the Rassie Erasmus. Before we get that, couple injuries of the Springboks. Faf de Klerks has been reported recently for a thumb injury, up to 2 months off, and with Grant Williams still coming back from injury, so there could potentially be a bit of a question mark at 9 jersey. So some of you guys have been telling me to watch the Rassie, podcast, and I watched it. It was quite interesting, actually. They talk about a lot of the ways they manage their players. They talk about this in this particular one. They talk about how Rassie did not think Makazulu Mapimpi was, up to the level of the Springboks, but later on he found out that Mapimpi was actually playing with an injury, knee injury, and then it's just you kind of like. He went through a lot of stuff that the coaches went through behind the scenes to get the players together, to build the players' trust. Like there was an incident where they selected Subu Nkosi to play against Wales at the Rugby World Cup 2019 in the semi-final, and when Cheslin Kobe had a bit of injury, and then Cheslin Kobe was basically fine before the game, so they thought about swapping him out, so swapping Cheslin back in and take out Subu Nkosi, and then there was and then everybody advised against it because they think that that's going to lose trust on the players. And the Rassie was like, it's true. We should consider, we should consider all players equally and trust is really important. We can't just name them as a team and then drop them last minute because, our favorite player is back to show sort of like favoritism towards anyone. And I thought that's really, really, really admirable because that's a Rugby World Cup semi-final, right? If anything goes wrong, you're going to be humiliated by the entire nation, and the coaches still stuck to their core values, that is treating every player with equal opportunity, and treat everyone equally without any biases in the selections. And I think that's really, really admirable from the coaching staff. And really interesting interview. So feel free to check that one out. So he's talking about that as well. Yes. So the Lions team, Andy Farrell has announced his full coaching staff, which includes Simon Easterby, Richard Wigglesworth, John Dalziel, John Fogarty, and Andrew Goodman. So that will be completing the coaching team for the Lions. And then he's also said he's penciled in 75 players potentially for the tour, and he's talked about how he's gonna based on everything on merit. He's considering players that has been kind of like in and out of the team, like Courtney Laws, Kyle Sinclair, and I think he's talking about potentially considering. He didn't consider, but he's saying that his son Owen Farrell is in and out of injury. But it's nothing. It's everything is being considered in a reasonable manner, I guess. And yeah, it's interesting. And he also mentioned that there's a possibility that some nations don't get selected, hinting that Wales might not have anybody in the team because of the really, really poor performance. I thought surely you could get Murray have a spot. Even not in the starting 23, even just in the team to play some of the smaller matches, will be a really great experience for a youngster. And I think that Andy Farrell overlooking the entire world squad, it's a little bit, might be a little bit too harsh there. So next up, so we've got, merit and dynamic. So obviously, Ireland still got the July Test series to attend. They need a coach, and Paul O'Connell has stepped up to guide Ireland to go against Georgia and Portugal on the summer July Test series. Marcus Smith was sent to America to promote the sport, promote his own brand. In fact, I guess the RFU sent him there to link up with the what is it? The Miami, is this, what is it? Miami Sharks. And so this wasn't a move to try to promote the profile of the game of the players going into the 2031 Rugby World Cup in the United States. So this is all like a bigger picture to not just promote the player, but promote the sport in America as a whole. So there was also some talks about the All Blacks selection. Kieran Taumau Folau. He is an outstanding winger for the Moana Pacifica team, and he played a few tests for Tonga in 2023. So he, 3 years old, 24, 25. So next year he will be available. Depends. Yeah, will be available to play for New Zealand Rugby potentially. So there was some talks that they might consider him and ask him for a switch. But hey, again, he's already played for Tonga. It's up to him to decide if he wants to play or not. And Razor Robertson further confirmed that the talks with Richie Mo'unga has completely broken down, that he won't be coming back to New Zealand Rugby. Antoine Dupont has a ACL injury to his right knee. There's no reports on how long this injury is going to be. He's going to get a surgery, and this is the second ACL injury he suffered, and he is this could be 6 months to probably a year, depends on the severity of the injury. There were some talks that Man in the Box has been getting interest from overseas, despite his contract still signed till mid-2027. Next up, we've got Fijian Jura has locked down Armstrong Ravula to a deal till 2027 for the Rugby World Cup. Some more talks about Kalen Ponga potentially switching to Rugby Union. This was some talks about Robertson, the All Blacks head coach, has talked about him. If he is interested, he will be more than happy to have a discussion with him. And Ponga has been in pretty good form at the moment in the Rugby League. Finally, Isaac Kalea signed a new deal with Rugby with Australian Rugby till 2027 Rugby World Cup. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this news for this week. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, are you looking forward to Israel Folau returning like I am? Yeah, he's probably have to come out, make a big public apology, but hey, I think that everybody deserves a second chance, and I think it'll be great to see him back, to be playing in front of his fans. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one. Cheers.